Welcome to the First Customers Podcast. Today we've got Nick Maciel with us from Cadversity. Nick, where are you from, man?
Yeah, I was actually born and raised just outside Boston, and I currently live there still, so all my life.
Okay, awesome. And growing up, did you sell anything or have little business or anything like that when you were a little kid?
I did actually. That's a great question. When I was, what was my first gig? I was 7. I had a lemonade stand for half a summer, and then I got very tired and very hot, so that's why it only lasted for half a summer. And then
Yeah.
when I was 9, I ended up creating newspapers for my local street. And it was a combination of like learning how to format. I would do like comics, I would do crosswords, and then I would actually add news articles. And I would just print them,
Okay.
use up all of my parents' ink and paper, and I would sell them for $1 a piece to all of my neighbors down the street. And then that was pretty much it. That was my only sales experience when I was a kid.
Awesome. All right. And that was basically your first job?
I guess you could say so. Yeah. Well, maybe chores in the house, but
Okay. And then what was your first job for like another business after that?
yeah, my first actual job, I was a bagger and cashier for a small local Chinese restaurant. And at the time,
Okay.
I think it was before they adjusted minimum wage. I think I was making like $11 an hour at the time.
Cool. And how many businesses would you say or projects, things to raise money and uh, earn money in different ways did you get into before your current project?
Yeah, so I ran 2 serious businesses before my current agency, both of which I exited in college.
Okay, cool. And why did you start this business that you're in now, Cadversity?
Yeah, so I call it kind of a vendetta or a revenge plot. The reason being is because what we do at Cadversity is we supply turnkey designs, product designs, completely bespoke to entrepreneurs and other engineering firms. And we do it for a fraction of the price and a fraction of the time compared to something like a
Okay.
traditional consulting firm or freelancing platforms. The reason I say it's a vendetta, right? So I had actually done freelancing myself in this arena while I was in college to make money, and the experience was extremely prohibitive. It was a large glass ceiling between myself and my clients.
Hmm.
It was very difficult to understand project vision without like any sort of dedicated fulfillment system on these platforms, and I was also underpaid. And you need to monetize your account on these platforms in order to win proposals on contracts. So because of those negative experiences, I wanted to start this agency for other contractors.
Okay. So can you remember the moment you decided to start your own business? And what was that? What were you going through? What were you thinking about?
Yeah, so to start my first or to start Cadversity?
Cadversity.
Yeah, so I remember watching a bunch of videos about the impending recession, which has yet to hit us, and looking into different business models that would be sustainable, and of course identifying my niche, which is in the engineering space. It's the only thing I'm good at. It's all I'm able to sell within, right? And the consistent advice from my mentors and from what I was seeing online was that an agency is the most sustainable business model to start with little to no accolades, little to no cash. Reason being is because you're providing a service up front. So it's really easy to package a service and sell, and then you can invest in automations and other systems to grow the business.
Yeah. How long did it take you to launch once you decided to start the business?
Yep. So I decided to start actually in May of this year. So it's a new business. And then I didn't form the LLC until September, and I wasn't operating until October. So it's
Wow.
pretty new.
Yeah, that's really new.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you got the LLC, you were starting to actually go after business. How did you launch?
Yeah, so the way that I launched is I did some pre-marketing, a little bit of organic and paid advertising up front. And then I also opened an immediate referral system where basically I provide, and this is still public, I provide commissions to people that publicly refer people that want things to be designed, right? And so generating that hype enabled actually myself to land our first client within the first week. And it was basically publish the website, launch out all the ads on a scheduler, and just run word of mouth for the first week. So
Cool.
not glorious,
And
but Effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many customers do you have now that since launching, if you don't mind sharing?
Yep. So all of our clients right now are fixed fee, which means they'll come to us with a specific project and we'll work with them once. And then we do have recurring relationships.
Gotcha.
But to date, we've worked with, since the beginning of October, we've worked with 12 clients.
Awesome. And what's your role at the business?
Yeah, so I'm owner and operator, right? So I have an administrative assistant who runs kind of the nitty gritty of things, and which I always recommend new business owners to have to outsource. And I have a remote software developer for an app that we're developing for fulfillment. And in addition to that, I've got contractors and salespeople. But what I do is I generate new appointments. I'm always working on improving our marketing, our advertising, and I'm the actual touch point when you get on a sales call to speak with the client.
Cool. Can you talk a little more about the problem that your business solves for your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think that this is a case where this problem isn't exactly on the front of people's minds. It's not something that they think they have, but we're certain that they have it. And, if you've ever had a shower thought, right? If you've ever been at the dinner table and you watch Shark Tank, right? Most people watch Shark Tank. We've all had these cool ideas for something that we would make, right? No matter how crazy it is, but it's always come short of just a goofy conversation, right? But
Right.
I think that for those of us who decide we're serious about creating a physical product, we then have to navigate a very saturated VC investor space that requires a lot of equity dilution and a lot of money to be raised up front for prototyping. And that's simply not the way. You can prototype designs and get first spins of manufactured products out for a fifth to a tenth of the price of trying to raise a round with a venture capital firm and go through the weeds of that system, of that situation. So we want to empower people to launch their own market-ready, shelf-ready products from any idea that they have in mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so talk a little more about why you think that problem exists, or what causes that problem or disconnect for people.
Yeah, I think most people dive into entrepreneurship and end up doing things that they dislike because it might cash flow or it might make sense in the market. So most entrepreneurs are very software focused, right? Most entrepreneurs that try to develop a product nowadays, it's a digital asset, it's a digital product. And here I am saying it doesn't matter where you come from, whether it's from a marketing perspective or a software as a service or whatever industry you're looking to plug into, you are capable with no technical knowledge of developing a bespoke physical product that can be sold to the market.
Wow. So you're helping people get things started, getting the actual physical products launched.
Yes.
How many people do you think there are? Like, how big of the market do you think that there is for this? How often do you think people have this problem?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I think the market is, I think the opportunity rather is obtainable for almost anyone. And the reason I say that is because when I have conversations with people from all walks of life about what we do, it's a rekindling of some of these ideas that they've had for stuff that they would make or stuff they've thought of before, right? And these are generally creative people, right? So if you're a creative person, maybe you wanted to start a project in your garage, whatever it is, but you just don't have access to the technical aptitude, the resources, the money, etc., to get it consulted out and to get it actually brought to market. For me, it's quite personal because my first business, I was product based in the utility sector, and I didn't have this kind of resource to propel me to the point where I could be investable. And had I had this resource, I would have been investable. And I was never business oriented in the first place. I just decided to nosedive into product development. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
this could liberate, in my mind, this is the kind of affordable and efficient system that could liberate. Like, think about like a 45-year-old father of 3 kids, right? Isn't happy in his job, right? And is just really creative, kinesthetic person, and has these cool ideas for these products, but just doesn't have the capital, the time, or the knowledge to actually implement them and sell them. Like, we try to help that person.
All right. And how would you help somebody like that? Can you go into a little more of the process that you can share about how you help people, what works and what doesn't work?
Yep. So we have an automatic quoting system. Basically, you can upload whatever you have, napkin sketches all the way up to formative computer-aided design drafts, whatever you have for your idea. And then we quote out automatically. You receive an email with a preliminary invoice, all quoted in your name, with an NDA, a signable NDA, within 3 to 5 minutes. And you can hop on a booking call to negotiate terms and price, or you can initiate the signature on the invoice directly. The reason why that's beneficial is because you can get started today, and the costs that we have completely undercut market. We are about 20 to 35% the cost of hiring out a traditional engineering consulting firm for the same design level work. And while we of course are more, we have a higher price ticket than like a freelancing platform where you hire someone out in a foreign country for a couple bucks an hour, right? We provide secure, vetted contractors that are professionally licensed engineers across the country, and we provide a relationship between the contractor and the client through calls, etc. So you're really going to take ownership of your product vision, but you don't have to put in any of the legwork yourself to get the design fulfillment out.
Got it. Are there other companies that do this same kind of thing, or are you guys the only ones, or what's the competition look like?
Yeah, similar. So a lot of the competition, traditional consulting firms, right? You can hire out engineers that are on W-2, full-time engineers, to turn over your design, and then continue to pay down the road for new revisions, manufacturing, testing, etc., in-house. And then there are also competitors that exist in the freelancing space. There is a platform called CAD and people can go on and create a profile and submit a project as a auction contest, where a bunch of design contractors that have profiles on the other side of the platform can submit their designs, and then you select a winner from the pool. The reason why I feel like, maybe you're going to this next, but the reason why I feel like that platform specifically is problematic is because you're pushing out a limited amount of content and then asking a bunch of people to kind of attack it from an angle that doesn't have a full level of understanding of the project vision and scope and where you want to take that idea. How does it relate to your business? How does it relate to your pipeline in the future? And on top of that, I always say you get what you're paying for. So you're paying pennies on the dollar, but you're getting random college kids submitting their designs to for your prototype. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think your biggest win has been since you've launched?
Our biggest win so far has been the consistent positive testimonies from our clients and the consistent positive testimonies from our contractors. So the contractors that work with our agency they always say, like, where has this been? They've always told me, where has this been? A lot of them came from the freelancing platforms that I used to work on as well. Once again, underpaid, underserved, had to monetize their proposals, yeah. And then on the client side, we've just only received extremely positive reciprocal feedback on the design deliverables and the quality of the work turned over. And you can view our testimonials at freecadquotes.com on our website.
Freecadquotes.com?
Freecadquotes.com, yeah.
Cool. And so have any products become kind of market successes where they've actually gone on to sell, or has there been enough time for someone to actually get something developed and then start making sales or starting an e-commerce site, or how do they go to market? Yeah.
So because we've been in operations for 2.5 months, nothing has been fully ramped to production scale. However, we do have a client that we developed a car film delamination machine and a washdown machine for, and they have completely constructed the prototype that we designed for them, and they're running testing now. And then they're going to determine the amount of throughput they get, and from there move into production. So it's exciting.
Awesome. All right, now let's get into your first customers.
Yes.
You started with 0 customers. Now you have some customers.
Yes.
So what happened there in between? How'd you get that very first customer?
Yeah. Really, honestly, not sleeping much and sprinting as many parallel marketing activities as possible. So it's a combination of a few things. I use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which allows me to establish meaningful relationships with prospects. I also use email collection tools and a CRM, which has allowed me to establish an email list of subscribers. We have a blog and a newsletter that ties into that also gets prospects engaged. In addition to that, Facebook marketing, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, both paid and organic. And we're always constantly optimizing our ad stream. So we both pay money and work for free to gather new prospects.
Okay. So do you remember the very first paying customer that you got?
Yes. Yeah. That was actually.
How did you get them specifically?
That was a direct referral. So for me, as expected, most of our upfront clients would be through referrals and word of mouth because we're a high-ticket service-based agency. Usually that's how it goes because one of the things that we're always doing is we're changing our value offer and changing our advertising around that. Because as I mentioned at the beginning of this call, people have thought of great ideas, but they didn't realize that it was a problem that our society is structured in such a way that it's prohibitive to develop such ideas. So for my business, I have to communicate how someone with a little extra cash to spend can really change the course of the rest of their life through our agency.
Cool. And so those referrals that you got for your very first customers, was that a result of building your network previously or previous businesses you were involved in, or explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so completely dissociated from my previous businesses, but it's definitely because of the network I've established. I've always been very active, particularly on LinkedIn in the engineering space. So I've always developed posts that have absolutely nothing to do with selling my business or just value content. And by establishing that ethos, I was able to have clients entrust me with their projects.
And so those very first clients, would you say they were a result of the content marketing that you were doing, or was it like relationships that you had made, or like previous customers, or just this is the part that I really like to go deep into, because this is that critical step for everybody who's starting something and they've got 0 customers and they want to get that first one.
Yep.
And so that's why I keep drilling in on this one part, because it's really interesting.
Yep.
The specifics about that.
Yeah. For me, it was all about relationships up front. That's the only reason I would have been able to profit in my first month. And I would say, generally speaking, that if you don't establish yourself as a trustworthy leader in your industry and continue to grow that trust, then just be prepared. Like, you can succeed equally in terms of client acquisition, just be prepared to pay a lot of money to do so.
Gotcha. So you either have to have the reputation, the audience, kind of the thought leadership, or you have to pay
to get the audience
for lead generation, ad campaigns. Okay. How old are you?
I'm 22.
22, and you were able to establish yourself as enough of a leader. That seems pretty quick, man. How long do you think it takes somebody to establish themselves enough to have the kind of network that you have?
I think, well, it's certainly on a time scale basis. It takes years rather than weeks.
Right.
But for everybody, it's different. You know, I think I struggled in the beginning to find my voice on social media, right? Which I think most people do, because they try and figure out a combination of the two of, okay, what do I actually enjoy posting? And then what is like my natural voice that engages people, right? And sometimes those can butt heads, so you kind of have to like test different things and figure it out. But no, I'm still not like satisfied with where things are. And I guess that's just a motivating factor. So
you said you were a part of 2 businesses before this, right?
Yes.
So you were doing all this during college, or did you start when you were in high school?
Yeah, no. So in high school, I was total mechanical engineer, robotics nerd, total just full out technical. Didn't really expand my skill set beyond that. My first venture into entrepreneurship was my freshman year in college. And the only reason I got into it was because I met some friends that were in that space that dragged me into it. And I really mean dragged. I ended up running through the pitch competition at my university, and we ended up winning the school-wide pitch
Wow.
competition. And so for me, that was like a glimpse into, oh, okay, maybe I have something I'm cut out for that goes just beyond the technicals of product development. And so that's where it all started.
And what school was that?
Northeastern in Boston.
Awesome.
For those who don't know, yeah, it's across the bridge from MIT, Harvard.
Okay, cool. So you got through 2 businesses. Now you're on your 3rd, and you're still in college, right?
I'm in grad school, so I'm in my last semester of grad school, and it's completely remote. So it affords me the majority time to focus on building my business.
Awesome. You're getting after it, man.
Yeah, thanks.
It's inspiring to see.
Trying.
All right, so you've launched this new business, Cadversity.
Yeah.
You're hustling, putting stuff out, working the marketing funnel, and you may have been talking to different potential clients, and then there's a day when you get your first payment in some form, right? At some point, that first customer paid. Tell me about that moment.
I wish I could sit here and tell you that it was grandiose and a big, fist in the air celebration. But
well, this is your 3rd time around, so you're used to this by now, I guess.
Well, actually, so and clarifying, this being my 3rd time around is it highlights the fact that the fact of trial and error, and this is the first business where I've sacrificed a lot, like where I'm truly passionate enough to sacrifice things that otherwise would be healthy for me.
Gotcha.
And learning a lot of lessons through that. When I received my first paycheck for the agency, it was honestly a little bit numbing. I was very happy. I was very grateful.
Yeah.
But for me, it was not a validation commensurate to the amount of sleepless nights I put into structuring, the funnel and the automation systems and hiring out and just preparing, building the business. So what does get
So you knew there was a lot to come. This was just the beginning.
Exactly.
When you got that first payment, it's like, of course we need this first one, and this is just the first step of many that we need to get to make this all worth it.
Exactly. But what does get me high is client testimonies, positive client testimonies.
Okay.
That will get me far more excited, the impact, than the money, genuinely. Because to me, it's like
the money starts the project.
Exactly.
And then that kind of gives confirmation that what you're adding value if you get a testimonial.
Yeah, and to that point, right, especially on the B2B side, our clients have money to spend. So for them, it's just a number. And so when that conversation is quick, but when the long conversation is about the quality and the feedback, right, that's really where the emotional conversation happens and where you can see the impact of the business.
Okay. And is the business growing the way you would expect it to be at this point? You said you're 2 or 3 months in.
It is growing the way I expect it to be. It's not growing the way I want it to be. It's
okay.
Because things are not enterprise level yet, in the works right now. But it's like 1 month we'll do a certain amount, and it's only been these 3 months, yeah. So like we made more in October than we did in November, but we're slated to make more in December. And the trend is linearly increasing from October to December. But it's like there's not enough historical data to be like, the trajectory, right? But I would say the revenue is good. Like it's especially good for the first, quarter of a year. So, yeah.
Yeah, you said you were profitable the first month?
Profitable the first month.
Yeah, that's amazing. A lot of businesses
I appreciate it.
I had to be.
Ever. I had to be, and the reason I had to be was because I had actually drained my personal bank account for this business, so I had to be profitable. Yes, I was all in.
Got a lot of skin in the game here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. What tactics would you say have been the most effective with these first clients that you've gotten?
You want to get really creative, I would say, extraordinarily creative about everything surrounding the sale. So like, I feel like a lot of people can sell, right? But for me, it was learning about how to upsell the service, how to cross-sell the service, how to split test the marketing to target different audiences, how to change the value offer to make it more attractive, calling friends and family members to give me their extraordinarily randomized sample of advice on how to improve things, which going back to the drawing board, talking to investors that were not even interested in the business to get their feedback. Like basically you have to almost treat it like a coloring book, treat your business like a coloring book and just get really creative.
Okay. If you had to start over today, even though you're still early, would you launch differently at all? Would you focus on one aspect as far as the marketing, the sales side of it, going after that new customer? Would you do anything differently if you had to do it over, even though you're only 3 months in?
Yeah, I'd be more aggressive.
Really?
I'd be more aggressive with prospecting because
Okay.
I've reached a point now where I have a 2-hour time slot every single day, other than the holidays, of course, because time with family is important. But a 2-hour time slot every day where I close my blinds and I grab a coffee and I literally don't stop DMing people and emailing and cold calling. And the reason I didn't do that in the first month is because of fear. I still hate cold calling. Like I still hate getting on the phone with somebody I've never talked to before. But I realized I had to do it to get my name out there. So it was either that or spend thousands of dollars on marketing and just like throw random things out. So yeah, I just would have been more aggressive. And aggressive is like a harsh word, but like there's no other word I can think of. You know, it's
right. Yeah. So would that mean more hours assigned to that activity specifically?
Yeah, more hours assigned specifically to prospecting. Like I would do all of these like glorious, glimmering, like structural work on the business and the automations and stuff that didn't need to happen because I had done most of it pre-launch. So I've always just kind of been dancing around the thing I've been most afraid of. And I had to have a serious conversation with myself and tell myself, like, you care about this too deeply already. So you have to do the one thing in the business operationally that you're most terrified to do, because it'll actually get you the way I think about it is if I call 1,000 people a day and 999 people reject me and one person signs, that's more business than me not calling anybody and getting 0 for the week.
Right.
So that's just where I'm at. And I trust the process because for me, it's like, I know the quality of our contractors' work. I know from the testimonials we have so far, what we provide to the market is extraordinarily valuable, and I'm confident in that. So for me, it's just a matter of time of as soon as it's like splitting the head off a hydra. So for every one positive client, it could be 2 referrals, right?
Okay.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, man, we've made it through the chunk of the questions. I think I got a good understanding of how you got your first customers. And now I just want to run through a few rapid fire questions and then let you get back to prospecting.
Awesome. Rapid fire. Here we go. I've actually never done this before. All right, so this should be fun.
Okay. Just, you can kind of answer yes or no, or you can go into a little bit of the details if you want, but I'm just going to ask you about different tools and whether or not you've used them.
Awesome.
In your sales marketing funnel. All right, let's start off with just a couple prospecting tools. Clearbit.
No.
Zoom Info.
No.
Okay. A few CRM tools. Monday.
Yes, but not for this business. I've used it.
Okay. HubSpot.
Yes, but not for this business.
Salesforce.
Yes, but not for this business.
Pipedrive.
No.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to some cold outreach tactics. Well, wait, for CRM tools, do you use anything for this business for like a CRM?
Yeah. MailChimp has been extraordinarily
Really?
helpful. Yes.
Add that to my list.
It is not by any means a technically avid CRM, but for
Yeah.
the purposes of structuring workflows and automations, it really does get the job done, in my opinion.
Okay. And when you were saying automations earlier, were you meaning that you spent a lot of time on marketing automations, like setting up your funnel to where it was just this nice, well-oiled kind of retargeting funnel? Or were you saying other parts of the business you were focusing on optimizing?
I got the funnel done in about a week to a week and a half sprint, but this is more in terms of the systems of emails, quoting, follow-up, testimony, ask, etc.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to some cold outreach tactics. You've answered some of this already. Cold calling.
Yes.
You said yes to that. Cold texting.
No, but I'm trying to get into SMS.
Okay. All right. Cold email marketing.
Yeah.
Cold DMs.
Yes.
All right. Which platforms do you usually cold DM somebody on?
Cold DMs. So Taplio for LinkedIn is really solid. You can structure that's for LinkedIn posting. That's a completely separate thing.
Okay.
Tweet Hunter for Twitter is extraordinary. You can
Really?
you can set up these things called auto DMs, and basically you create a value content like on Notion or some other system, or like a PDF attachment, whatever it is, and then you pre-schedule the tweet, and then in the audio DM structure you can select what the criteria for a prospect that they have to go through if they visit your page. So it can be like, retweet, they must be following, comment, and then you can put that in the copy of your tweet, and then basically you can think of it as like automatic affiliate marketing, because basically if someone engages with your post, then they get the value content that they were looking for in their DM. That establishes a cold relationship with them. But just inherently by the fact that they had to retweet to get the content, now person B and C and D and so on and so forth.
I just recorded a podcast yesterday with J.K. Molina from Tweet Hunter.
You spoke with J.K. Molina?
Yeah.
No kidding. Are you serious?
That's funny.
He's like an inspiration.
Yeah.
He's an inspiration to me. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's his episode's not coming out till next month, but yeah, that's crazy that you mentioned that.
That's incredible.
All right, what about cold snail mail, postcards, letters, that kind of stuff?
No. I would say that's just not my niche. If I was doing like real estate, that'd probably make more sense. But yeah.
Right. It's interesting because I've seen some of those services start to be advertised like there's kind of this kind of circling back, or this kind of second wave of like the digital version of the physical postcards. They've kind of automated and digitized a lot of the things that are possible to where you can do a lot more at scale and targeted.
Yep.
But it's still the old school mailing. I haven't messed with it myself, but
yeah, I think the cost per acquisition is too high compared to digital advertising.
Probably so. All right. Now let's move into paid outreach, ads, that kind of thing. Going back old school one more time, physical billboards.
No.
I always like to ask that one because sometimes we'll talk to clients.
I would be in a lot of debt if that was
billboard advertising.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. High dollars for those impressions.
Yep.
All right. Influencer ads.
No.
All right. Facebook ads.
Yes. Lots of it.
Instagram.
We tie that to our meta ads.
Google search ads.
Nope, but I got to get into that next.
Okay. And kind of related, but YouTube video ads.
I'm mainly focusing on the personal branding and leveraging shorts, and then eventually building the audience, the subscriber base to then start selling. And I've actually been mostly successful on Instagram with that. But I'm not going to sell until I hit my philosophy is don't sell until you hit your first 100K, because you want to establish trust with your audience and then sell your own products. And then the third tier would be work with brands. But for any other solopreneurs out there, that's how I would recommend. So
Cool. All right. Podcast ads,
No. No.
LinkedIn ads.
Yes, but not paid. Just organic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. TikTok ads.
No. I don't think that will
Okay.
ever. It's not the
Really?
platform. Yeah, and the reason I say that is just because, I mean, there could come a point where we run an influencer program. I can't, let me not put myself in a box, right? It's just, it's the
Yeah.
furthest out right now, I would say.
Right. Because I could see based on the target audience you were talking about, it seemed pretty broad,
It's
like
broad.
kind of a general interest,
It's
kind of
broad, but I
anybody who
could
had
tell
an
you,
idea.
yeah. So there's the target audience, right? And then there's the interest profile who actually
Okay.
follows through, right? The interest
Gotcha.
profile is not in their 20s, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
It's late 30s, early 40s has the largest interest profile. And this is why I mentioned to you, like the dad of 3 kids who wants to build
Yeah.
something but hasn't been able to. So,
Cool.
yeah,
Wonder how many dads are on TikTok. Be
there's
good
probably
to
a few.
get a breakdown.
Yeah.
All right. What about different retargeting tools? Other than the ad platform, are you using anything outside of that, like visitor queue or anything else?
No, no, but I need to get
Okay.
into that. So,
All right. And where do you post your organic content? Do you have your own website that you post on?
so I don't post on my own website. Our organic content,
Okay.
so we have the blog on our website. We have the newsletter through email, but then we do organic Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, scheduled 3 times per week, and then we run paid ads as well. Our organic ads are more
Cool.
happy-go-lucky, relate to the customer on a
Yeah.
less salesy basis, and then our paid ads are to gather leads.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Are you considering something like Reddit?
Once again, I put that in the TikTok box.
Okay.
We could post there. I just, in terms of the cost per acquisition, I really think Facebook takes the win for our niche. I really think
Okay.
it
And is it
does.
like lead form ads?
Yeah, it's lead form ads with a conversion pixel that runs through a funnel.
Cool. All right. So you've kind of answered all the rest of them, like Pinterest, Snapchat, Product Hunt, Medium, Quora.
Also, I just want to stress that if anyone's watching this podcast, that they should definitely contact me with creative ideas for lead gen and marketing, just because, like, listen, my entire educational background is engineering. So
Yeah.
starting this business, I would like to think that I have some marketing acumen necessary to generate the leads that we have, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not optimal, and I'm always learning. 80% of my
Yeah.
time spent throughout the day, every single day, is on some sort of course or learning system. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've got a pretty good funnel going. And it's almost a matter of budget as far as the paid side of it. It's like you can only scale so many platforms. You know, if you're
Yeah.
doing $1 a day on
Yeah.
100 platforms, it's
Yeah.
kind of less
Like,
impact than
yeah,
a few
like
focused
my
platforms.
burn rate is high. My burn rate is super high, and
Yeah.
that's just because it's early. Things are early. So,
Yeah. But if you've got the time, on the other hand, or the resources to post the organic content in more places that are free, that have a potential audience, then that seems like you might be leaving some money on the table on those. But
true.
again, being pressed for time,
Yeah, to your
it's always
point,
a
like if
judgment
I
call.
were to advertise laterally across every platform you mentioned and utilize all the tools, sure, I'd probably get more volume. But I
Mhm.
also don't have the human capital right now to achieve that.
Yeah.
So we're just focused on like,
On the organic side either.
yeah, we're just focusing on optimizing our current systems.
Yeah.
And then like once we have like a 1.5x revenue multiple, which should be in like next month or the following, February, that's really when we can start taking lumps out and investing in new softwares and hiring out. So
Cool. Well, this has been awesome, man. I think we've gone through everything we need to go through here. Really inspiring to hear how you're pushing so hard and growing relatively fast, man.
I
I know it's
appreciate
not
it.
where you want it to be, but being profitable
It
already
never
is
is, right?
amazing.
It never is, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
But
appreciate it.
the profit thing's incredible, especially these days with the way the economy could be going. You know,
I just
profit's
want to
definitely
mention
a
too
bigger issue.
about the economy. I just want to briefly mention, is this important, right? There's two
Yeah.
things, right? So if we look at the business side, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you're an engineering business or you're trying to develop a technical startup, you're going to have to lay off people probably within the next year as things are trending. And so to have to outsource your product design reliably, that can be a very daunting thing. That's where we come in, right? And then also on the consumer side, it's the great resignation. It's the great resignation. People are leaving their jobs. People are getting laid off. People are going to continue to be fired. And so the best time to start your passion project would be now. So we'd like to think that we can position ourselves as a thought leader in the recession space and hopefully give people extend our hand out and help people that need it. So
Cool.
yeah,
Everybody go talk to Nick at Cadversity and get some products launched.
let's do it. Thank you so much, Paris. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.